The Chicago Bears, who also market heavily in Spain, which we've learned since the announcement, who also have a franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams, who made his appearance on the St. Brown Brothers podcast and told him that the Lions need to be on the lookout because the Bears are coming next year. If they hire Mike McCarthy this offseason, I see the Bears not only being the first of these 4 teams breaking their drought, like we just saw the Lions do last year, like we saw the Commanders do this postseason, I see the Bears doing so in this coming season. Am I falling for the trap, C-Cat, by going all in on the Bears just like we did this past offseason and being totally burned for it? Maybe. They won 5 games. Caleb had an up-and-down year. A lot of that, though, I felt like had to do with leadership, had to do with Matt Eberflus and his lack of ability to get things together in Chicago. As bad as McCarthy has been in the postseason, he's not been bad about getting there.
Yeah.
And 12 wins in 3 straight seasons with that Cowboys team, a good Bears defense, a quarterback in Caleb Williams who's used to competing at the highest level, who wants to be a winner. Mike McCarthy's been a quarterback whisperer. He's been a guy that's produced at a high level. Why not the Bears with Mike McCarthy squeezing their way in?
I don't hate it at all. We saw a Vikings team this year that had no business popping with how treacherous that NFC North looked to be coming into 2025. If there was one team that we could have written off coming into the season because of how tough their division was and because of a bad injury to J.J. McCarthy, it had to have been the Vikings, even if McCarthy never got hurt. Why can't that happen to the Bears with a competent, proven, steady head coach with Mike McCarthy? Again, we can
Super Bowl winning coach.
Super Bowl winning coach. As of late, it feels like there's a ceiling there, but that's a pretty tall ceiling when you compare it to the past 30 years of Bears football, no?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, it's weird because I want to say the Cowboys were the reason or the detriment to Mike McCarthy, and if you're going to blame the franchise, then going from Cowboys to Bears is not like you're going from, you know, you ain't in Kansas anymore, but you might as well be. But I will say this, though, about what the Bears can be going forward under new leadership. We've seen a quarterback change everything for franchises. We saw that happen with Joe Burrow and the Bengals. We're watching it happen right now with Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Matt Eberflus was a lost cause. He walked into that season on the hot seat. He walked into that season this year as a guy who needed to kind of reclaim his own image. He even did a makeover to himself to try and put, for lack of a better term, lipstick on a pig. But I just don't think he was the guy, and I do believe Mike McCarthy has that level of confidence in himself and that level of confidence in what he can do with an offense to make it into a team that can get into the playoffs. Now, that division's tough, right? Like, if McCarthy becomes their head coach, you're fighting for a wild card spot. You're not fighting to win the NFC North. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But do I think they could be better than the Packers next year? Hell yeah.
And no more distraction with Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that is not something that at all helps a team to have that exposure, to have every rock turned over about what went wrong, what decisions were made, what can be picked apart in the media. These guys are young adults. They're really young men being talked about, their every move. It doesn't help your team on Hard Knocks.
Like, what was the last successful team that did Hard Knocks? What was the last team that was on Hard Knocks and things worked out well for them? I'm not saying you had to win a Super Bowl or anything, because obviously most of those teams aren't going to be eligible for Hard Knocks. But I think about the last few who have prominently been featured on Hard Knocks, the AFC North. The Browns were terrible this year. The Bengals were terrible this year. The Steelers got one and done in the playoffs. We'll see what happens with the Ravens. The Dolphins, back when bad. They did the midseason one. Bad year from the Dolphins, the way that it ended off. You think about the Hard Knocks from last offseason. The New York Jets.
Yeah, it couldn't have been worse.
It was literally the worst possible scenario. 4 snaps in, you lose your franchise quarterback. That was the whole premise of Hard Knocks. It was all about Aaron Rodgers. And in this past offseason, it was all about the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams, and that fell flat on his face.
DJ Moore getting paid. I thought it was going to be a pop year for him, and ended up being anything but.
He was, and I wonder what the relationship between him and Caleb Williams is going to be going forward.
They had a couple of games, like on Thanksgiving. He racked up both targets, catches, yards, and touchdowns in that national stage.
Yeah, he's really good. Like, DJ Moore is really good. If you can get the ball in his hands, he's going to, make plays. He was like that in Carolina and whatnot. it's just dealing with a rookie quarterback, dealing with a guy like Caleb Williams with that amount of bravado and not the results yet. There's a lot of tension you can tell outside looking in between those two guys. But either way, I will say the Bears have a clear path to success next year. It starts with a head coaching hire like Mike McCarthy and then strengthening up that offensive line and letting McCarthy get a full offseason with Caleb Williams to just tune up that quarterback mind. Think about the guys he's coached. Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott, two of the best problem-solving, two of the smartest on the field quarterbacks that we've seen in this generation. I think that if he can turn Caleb into a guy that makes better decisions, that's been the problem. It's not the arm talent. It's not his ability to extend plays and stuff. It's him getting outside of the offense and making poor decisions. Mike McCarthy could be the perfect guy for the job there. Even as I said it, I feel icky saying the Bears are going to win a playoff game only because I have PTSD from just what we did this past offseason.
Yeah, don't search theoretically speaking Bears
Yeah.
on YouTube if you want to have a high opinion of the hosts that are on ESPN 106.3 right now. Listen, everybody's got takes. Some are good, some are bad. That was one of the bad ones.
Yeah, we swung and we missed, but again, is it on us or is it on the Bears? I blame them. They fired their coach, so that proves us right. Prize Picks is a place where you can prove your own picks, your own takes right if you can win some cash, and it's the perfect place to go to do so. You see the YouTube Prize Pick stream. That's the promo code you want to lock in on. THEOD. THEOD is the promo code. $50, man. Like, come on, where else are you getting $50? $50 to be able to play and win right here on Prize Picks if you use promo code THEOD. All you got to do is make a $5 play and you get $50. What's a play on Prize Picks? It's just a lineup. Between 2 and 6 players, you're hitting more or less on these player projections. I'll give you an example. Let's go to the NFL Divisional Round weekend right now. Derrick Henry's rushing yard player stat projection is at 97.5. That's really high because, again, it's Derrick Henry, and the Ravens ran the heck out of the ball in the opening round. Against that Bills defense, I think they will be able to do the same. I would hit more on Derrick Henry. Another one I'm a little stuck on right here. They've got the little devil emoji next to the Jaden Daniels passing touchdowns, more than 1.5.
The green one or the red one? Because the green one is when they lower the number to make it easier to hit the more than.
Yes. Green would be, it's like a goblin versus a demon. The goblin is the green. The demon is the red. And the red means it is more incentivized. You can win even more money if you believe it's going to happen. I think 1.5 touchdown passes for Jaden Daniels, even if the Commanders do not win this game, they're going to be playing from behind. He's going to be throwing the football, and that is a team that does not settle for field goals.
That's true. Hey, 4th and goal from the 7.
Yeah.
Going for it.
Yeah. We saw Terry McLaurin. He connected with him on one of those just last week to win against the Buccaneers. That's another one. That's as simple as it is. Between 2 and 6 player projections, more or less, and you could be winning cash on your favorite teams, favorite games, favorite players. Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the app. The promo code is THEOD. Win your play your $5 lineup, win $50 for free. Run your game on Prize Picks all postseason long. We are from the South Florida Fair. We are just getting started here. Later on, we have a Who Missed the Cut with the one and only CEO of the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches, Todd